Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2+1. With our first finalist, the Protoss in the red with the StarCraft 1 pros. We have Trap. Up against the Zerg player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. In the blue, the final boss. It's Dark. A best of 5 Zerg versus Protoss Grand Finals to the first major StarCraft Evolution Complete tournament. 32 top-tier StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 pro players, and over $5,000 in prizes, and this is hopefully the very dramatic conclusion. As before I get into StarCraft Evo, or if you like what you see but you have no idea what's going on, maybe you'd also enjoy smashing that like button, and possibly even subscribing. And Jimmy, what are we... 1,391 likes on this video, on this cast. I'll cast another one, and I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life, but thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hope it's bound to get just a little bit better. StarCraft Evolution Complete brings StarCraft 1 races into StarCraft 2. Obviously, there's some adjustments to make them very roughly, and I expect plenty of arguments, but very roughly equivalent to their StarCraft 2 counterparts. But it maintains the tech tree, there's custom models. It's probably the most comprehensive and well-done mod for competitive StarCraft that I've ever seen in what is now over 14 years, yeah, as of yesterday when we're recording this, of StarCraft 2. Oh my god. And we're going back to the future now, because this mod has become arguably more popular than StarCraft 2 itself in Korea. Of course, combining their two favorite things, which is StarCraft 1 and anything else. So, the rules before we get started, I think very important. They will be switching off. I'm not sure who got to pick first, but next game, Dark will be playing StarCraft 1 races, and Trap, StarCraft 2. And if we go to a Game 5, an ace match, they get to blind pick, which I'm really hoping for multiple reasons, but also to see which one they think is truly the strongest. But to get to this stage, they've had to have experience on both sides of things. Dark with that StarCraft 1 Zerg, which is dramatically different. Okay, not dramatically, but significantly different, especially when it comes to the macro with than their StarCraft 2 counterparts. I mean, queens can fly, but you don't have nearly as much larva, so a lot of opportunity cost there. Whereas with StarCraft 1 Protoss, your gateway unit's just so much stronger. But the mobility is somewhat lacking. You don't got Warp Gate. In general, your later game options, well, in this case, a Reaver's on the way, alongside Shuttle Speed, Gravitic Drive. Actually, I'm not sure if it's called Gravitic Drive, but whatever the equivalent is, in order to shuttle that Reaver around, because Reavers are, and this is true, somehow slower than queens off of Crete, which is an impressive feat. Citadel is on the way as well. The Twilight Council, or Twilight Council equivalent, unlocking the Templar Archives, as well as potentially the Zealot Legs upgrade. They never skip leg day, unless you forget the Citadel, that is. Overlord wandering through, going to see all of it. Upgrading Singularity Charge, Dragoon range. Dragoon, the stalker they tell you not to worry about. So generally, units are not just copy-paste. I mean, obviously, custom models that look amazing here. Even some since I last played. I really love the StarCraft 1 Pylon model as well. Now, the StarCraft 1 Pylon actually has about 50% more HP, and that's just one of the many differences that you might not realize if you've only ever played the sequel. Mutas are already on the way, though, for Dark, rushing out the Mutalist, and without access to a Stargate early, this could be absolutely devastating for Trap, who has only Dragoons for anti-air, but the shuttle flew past the Mutas. They don't even know it yet. He's on the edge of the creep tumors. Dark is not turning around. That Reaver could do terrible, terrible damage to the mineral line, but the Mutas are almost uncontested as well. Working it towards the probes, the Reaver, Queens, he's trying to get some shots off. Big hit. Oh, it looked a lot worse than it was. That one was pretty bad, though. 7 kills, 7 drones dead. The Mutas try to chase, but Gravitic Drive is done. Reaver comes out, retargets, 9 drones dead. One more scarab for the road, and he gets 11 in total. Meanwhile, the mutas scrambled back, flying back at a rapid pace across the map. But not be... Is that walled in? Did he wall in his Reaver? It's a house Reaver, all right? It happens. Maelstrom on the way. Is that Maelstrom? Not 100%. Wait, do we have tool... Jimmy! I told you we need tooltips for this one. I don't know all the icons. Well, Muta's in the main. Researching Maelstrom, indeed. I believe that is the Dark Archon stun ability, as the Templar Archives unlocks both flavors of Templar. Though they merge separately, because it wasn't until 2010, 14 years ago, that the Protoss allowed inter-Templar merging. But those Darkons, while they don't have an attack themselves, have some devastating abilities if they can be brought to bear. But Dark is exploiting the lack of built-in anti-air. Without a Stargate early, and without enough Dragoons to really ward this away, he's going to see the Darkon, and I'm sure he knows the implications of it. If the Mutas are caught by the Maelstrom, it could be absolute... Oh my god, that new Archon model is so sick. Oh my god. But also should put some clothes on. I don't know what kind of clothes, but it's like a Dr. Manhattan situation here. Dark. 58 drones. Is there Storm? No, just going for the multi-flavored Archons. What is going on with Maelstrom? Is it done? Oh, I had the upgrades tab open. Oh my god, he stuns all the Mutas! And Dark fell right into Trap's trap! And that didn't last nearly as long as I thought it would. I thought it was like a 15-second long ability. And the Mutas will escape and be able to regen. Doesn't lose nearly as many as it looked like he was going to. Mutas swinging around again, but Trap still has a pretty strong army. It's not like Dark has a massive amount of supply behind it either. Mutas still fragile creatures, even if they are incredibly mobile. Maelstrom, a difficult ability to deal with, but why deal with it at all? Just keep flying around. Gonna kill some more of the probes, down to 40 of them. More Reavers coming out, but Trap is on the clock right now. His economy is being devastated. Another Maelstrom, but doesn't catch nearly enough. The Archon juggled back. Another Archon, wait, that's the same Archon popped out with the shuttle. Doing a lot of damage to the Mutas. Actually, Dark really struggling to deal with the one Archon. And now charge lots. Sorry. Zealots with the legs. I don't know, leg lots? Wait, what am I saying? No, just Zealots. We'll just say Zealots. Speed lots. That's the one. We got there. Why did Zealots get nerfed in HP for StarCraft 2 compared to the StarCraft 1 version? Obviously because they charge too much. But the legs, done. A Darkon could maybe... He catches a whole bunch of the Mutas. Another one, zones him out. Is he going to get enough damage done to actually take the Mutas out? The Archon coming in, doing overwhelming damage. Juggling with double shuttle. The micro is intense right now. But it looks like Dark will be able to slip away with the majority of his Mutas. The supplies are dead even. What a game. Well, most of the games I've seen from this tournament and that I've played myself usually tilt one way or the other very quickly as soon as the tech choices are made. Not necessarily towards the StarCraft 2 player, but it feels like they have a lot more mobility. The Dark here, still getting a lot of damage done with the Mutas, but Trap is making magic happen with the multi-flavored Archons. Storm is just now on the way. Better late than never. We'll see if he's able to finish it at all. The cannons are holding. Targeting pylons is a futile endeavor with that much HP on it. And Dark swinging around with the Mutas. Oh, Mutas on top of everything. Might have to merge another Archon, but it's just Mutas. He is up against another Archon that's taken down. Not having Storm. Going for Maelstrom before Storm seems like putting the Darkon before the regular one here. And while he's able to stun the Mutas, he's not able to take them out. That Storm does so much damage. It isn't your boring, wimpy StarCraft 2 Storm. It does way more, and it looks even more dramatic as well. Probably should have an epilepsy warning, to be honest, on the StarCraft 1 Storm model. But Dark, 16 more probes dead. Trap actually has a larger army, but he's struggling to bring it to bear as he has to literally shuttle his units between his bases, and it's just not working out. 1-1 is now completed on the ground for the Zerglings. Zealots on the other side. The Queen's holding. Just barely. One last inject for the road. The Zealots are cleaned up by the reinforcing Mutalisks. And Dark takes out a Reaver. And Trap, he lost his third. He lost his counterattack. He's lost a lot of his probes. The game doesn't seem too far behind. Does he even have an infestation pit? No. Just Zerglings and Mutas. And it was just Mutas for a while as well. Dark doesn't have that many drones, but he has access to a lot of the bases. From my understanding, most of the StarCraft 1 maps, like this one, Palapoid, have more resources than their StarCraft 2 counterparts. You don't mine out quite as quickly. More in line with the Brood War style, though not quite as much. Somewhere in the middle, I think. But, and right now, that Muta count, 24 Mutas, one incredible storm. Wow, 2 Mutas. The Archon doesn't have an attack. The Darkon just has to sit there and take it unless it's willing to use that energy on Maelstrom. So, and obviously, that's not the case. Dark has him bottled up and is looking real good here in Game 1. Hive has begun. It looked like for a moment Trap would have the army, but the Dragoons, they don't have enough DPS to chase down the Mutalisks and scare them enough. I think they suffer from the same weaknesses as Stalkers from StarCraft 2, which is, you know, they get easily distracted and overwhelmed by large amounts of units. Though the Dragoons have a little bit more HP, a little bit more range, they don't have the Blink upgrade, unfortunately. Trap coming in again. He's got Mass Templar. There's still an opportunity. He's just going for the big attack. He has half a dozen High Templar. He's got a couple Darkons with enough energy for Maelstrom. He's trying to take that third, but I think he's more trying to bait a fight out of Dark, where he can maybe catch enough of the Mutas to turn it around. But he's just skirting right around the edge of it. The Wombo Combo Maelstrom Storm is the dream here for Trap. But Dark knows exactly that, and he's just not letting it happen. He's playing hard to get right now. Okay, Darren Amulet on the way for the Templar. I think they pop out with a storm when that happens. One of them gets taken down, but here we go! The Maelstrom storms! Where are the storms on the Mutas? The opportunity completely whiffed! He had a beautiful Maelstrom, but the Zerglings came in. He melts through dozens of them, but there are hundreds more behind it. Dark, with Game 1, a decisive victory. He's able to take it with the StarCraft 2 Zerg. Now we flip the script, though. Can he repeat the process with the Brood War style Zerg? The Brood War Mutas? Well, against StarCraft 2 Protoss, I actually have no idea. Both these players, very well accomplished StarCraft 2 players. I have no idea about their... I'm pretty sure if you have Korean citizenship and you're over the age of 20, you played Brood War in some capacity, somewhat seriously at some point in your life. So, I'm just assuming. I apologize for maybe stereotyping there. But Dark just overwhelming in Game 1, understanding exactly the weaknesses of that robo-first style out of Trap. And, Dark, you can't just proxy hatch. Well, can he? I have no idea. Dark seems to be sticking to his normal playbook, which is setting the playbook on fire and then throwing the ashes into his opponent's face. The proxy hatch. This is not intended to do critical damage. It's intended to throw whatever Trap's game plan is off. And I'm not sure if it succeeded. He's expanding back at home. Spawning pool's on the way. It's going to be 2-gate Cybercore. And without queens, and without speed, adepts are going to be a potentially deadly threat. And it's very likely Trap will have at least 2 of them coming out. The Zerglings, StarCraft 1 Zerglings, are stronger than their StarCraft 2 counterparts, though not by such a margin. They can just be fighting big groups of adepts. Ah, yes. Hatch Tech Hydra Den and a 3rd hatchery on the way. Dark still has the drone in the main as well, doing a little bit of that anti-mineral mining. So Hydra's much closer to the Roach of StarCraft 2. 75 minerals, 25 gas, and hit like a pillowcase with nothing in it. Until they get upgrades in enough numbers. And then maybe you can smother them, but they do have the anti-air capability. Unfortunately, though, for Dark, there's no air. Is he walling off with hatcheries? I don't know if he's gonna... I don't think you can hard wall with hatcheries, right? The adepts are here already. There's no creep colony. The adepts just slip in. He has to have known that that was a possibility. There are 6 Hydras in production. They pop out, but the adepts just shrug it off. They're gonna kill 2 of the drones. It's not like Dark has a lot to burn right now. More kills with the Zealot. A 3rd adept on the way. More Hydras in production. They will strongly suggest that the adepts vacate the premises, but the adepts are always here to throw shade. Without any of those relatively expensive Hydra upgrades, there's no chasing that down. Like, he's not going to find him. So Trap now has the mobility, and I think that's just the running trend, is these StarCraft 2 races have a lot more mobility. StarCraft 2, both in the StarCraft 2 engine and the design, is very fast and mobile compared to the more spread out, powerful units of StarCraft 1. Especially the spellcasters, the late game spellcasters. Storm is insane. Defilers are probably the best unit in the game. But Dark is a long way from getting anywhere close to that. Trap will deny the base. Adepts, I don't believe Hydras are light units. Neither are they heavy. They're just right. I believe they're just biological. So they don't take bonus damage from Adepts, but they certainly don't kill them very fast either. So that is the Hydra speed upgrade, which is very misleading because it uses the icon of the Roach speed upgrade. Like, I get it, but also my brain hurts. That might just be a default state, though. Like and subscribe for my therapy. Adepts shading in. A couple into the main, but a couple into the... It's not good. It's bad. It's really bad. 30 drones. No lair yet for Dark. Shield battery back at home. Adepts are cleaned up for now, but 8 drones dead. Dark. I don't think the proxy hatch was worth it. Trap was more than happy to add the 2 gates, and now he's just dancing around with the adepts. Dark's specialty is turning ridiculous scenarios that he should have already lost into at least plausible games. We'll see if he can do it here. He's going for both Hydra upgrades. The same ones, just kind of the prototype versions of what we got in StarCraft 2. Hydra speed and Hydra range on the way. Looks like he's just doing a Hydra all in. And the adepts are going to be caught. Dark's drone count isn't horrible. And you don't need quite as many workers in StarCraft 1 to keep up with it. No Lurker Den. The Lurker Den is... Wait. Do you build it on the Hydra Den? Well, you need a lair. I know that much. So, yeah, part of the reason we can't have Lurker Den or Hydra Tech on lair in StarCraft 2, one of the many reasons, is because then you could get a Lurker Den almost immediately upon that lair finishing. And that would be pretty good. Maybe pretty too good. Actually, we've tested it out a bit. It's way too good. It's problematic. But with these weak sauce beta hydras here, the first generation hydras, the original series of hydras, maybe Dark can put something together. Trap. There's 4 creep colonies on the way. We're building the Sunkens in order to impale anything that gets close behind. Is going to be more dicey. Charge lots. And Dark taking this very seriously. He's building 4 Sunkens, but Trap has a 3rd base on the way. He could just pull back. And that Warp Prism means he has a conduit to send in more and more units. Dark has 28 Hydralisks. And counting. The layer's halfway done. A Colossus is on the way, but again, those Hydras are not light units. They're just kind of flimsy. Those are 2 different things. Alright. So, having Colossi will certainly be good, but not overly good, like they would be against StarCraft 2 Hydras. Another drone attempting to get something done, but Dark is clearly getting desperate. Constant hallucinated phoenixes. Will come in and there's really no way to stop it. Does he start the lurker aspect immediately? What is that? Is that the Overlord vision range? I guess. Jimmy, we have to set it every game. For some reason, but Overlord sight range, the antenna. They grow an extra, much more stiff tentacle that can look around and other things. Not exactly sure why that's the priority here. Maybe he hit the hotkey for Overlord drop, but misclicked it? Otherwise, I have no idea why that would be a priority. It's a cheap upgrade, but certainly not going to increase the fighting capability of your units. That is a lot of Hydras. 51 Hydras. They're only 1 supply, so... There are disruptors on the way. Dark has gone all in. He's put all his chips on Hydras. There are 2 Colossi here. Extended Thermal Lance is fully completed. The Colossi are going to poke forward. They're really not doing that much damage. And I think Trap's starting to be a little intimidated. They're the force fields. They lock things in. There's no way at all to break force field for the StarCraft 1 Zerg. He's just wrapping around. He might even be able to pick off the prism. Either force a recall or be able to outflank the army. There's disruptors coming up. A little bit late to the foe. That's a big chunk. Takes out half a dozen Hydras. Emotional support force field there will discourage the rest. And GG. Both players winning with their StarCraft 2 default, but so far struggling at the StarCraft 1 races. Dark, the proxy hedge. So part of the reason the proxy hedge can be a maybe not like an aggressive move, but it works without taking immense counter damage in StarCraft 2 is you have queens. All right? Queens which do everything. So, and most importantly, give you basic defense that doesn't cut into your drone count. So Trap, obviously understanding that, exploits that scenario. And Dark goes into quite a long death animation. At least that's kind of how it felt. Well, now we're back on a StarCraft 1 style map, retro, which feels extra appropriate. And it will be Trap with the StarCraft 1 Protoss. And those fancy, I love the pylon. I don't know why the pylon is my favorite. Oh, hello, Pylo. Is what I've heard it called in a distant fever dream, but Like and subscribe for better pylon skins. The Forge Pass to expand. Not indicative of a cannon rush, but you know... Maybe. Might not give it a shot. Honestly, I don't think Trap... He had a plan for game 1. I think being in cross positions on a 4-player map made it difficult to ever really put any pressure on Dark before he was able to get mutas out. But we are not in cross positions here. A much closer rush distance. And, well, we'll see if Trap wants to maintain that sort of ground-based style, or if he heads for the Stargate, like almost all of StarCraft 2 Protoss do as well. I love the look of the creep on the StarCraft 1 maps as well. It's somehow tied into the map itself as opposed to the basic model. I think creep is effectively terrain when you think about it. Don't think too hard. Don't hurt yourself. I do it too often. Roach Horn's on the way. And with that Cyber Core done, Dragoon starts. Does not look like Trap is headed towards the Stargate. And also, the Overlord just kind of sauntering in here. Taking a look around, which is most of its purpose. Zealot. Cleaned up by the Queens. A couple more Zerglings, but there is a cannon to back it up. Dragoon pops out. They drive away the Lings. Robotics facility on the way. There are 6 roaches in production, though, for Dark. It looks like he's headed towards Ray. He's got 6 in gas right now. He's got Ling speed behind. It's a Ravager all in. He's going to try to kill Trap before he has really any defense. Shield batteries do exist, and they look kind of crazy. But they're a single time. I don't think shield batteries can reshield buildings. I think they're limited to units. But right now, Trap just choosing the cannons, which of course are great targets for the Ravagers, of which several already in production. Stargate is on the way. What are you going to do? Build scouts? There's also no fighting units you can build out of the Robo until you get that Robo Bay for Reavers. There is no fighting unit built in, just the Shuttle and Observer. So right now, Trap has a grand total of 2 gateways against this Ravager attack. Dark is only at 21 drones behind, so if Trap is able to hold, then he's in a perfectly good position to do some counter damage and be ahead economically. But the Ravager count is growing, and those cannons can't run away. He's backing up. Reaver in production. No chrono boost. He's just got to wait it out. Buying himself more time. Targeting the cannons. Trap has more on the back line. Is there a shuttle? There is no shuttle. So the Reaver will still be vulnerable on the ground, though potentially deadly. The Zerglings come in. Probes are pulled off the line. And now things get complicated. Or very simple, depending on how you want to look at it. 5 probes dead. Trap pulls back. Zealots try to take more damage. These cannons not going to happen. Cancel. Another wave of corrosive bile. The cannon with 1 HP. One last corrosive bile takes it out. But the Reaver is finally done. Is it too little? And is it too late? Or is it enough to save the day? He needs to get close enough to spit out that Scarab. He fires a shot. Big damage. Waiting for another Scarab. And it looks like Dark. He eats the hit. There's only 1 more cannon left on the back line. Point blank shot. The Reaver. He needs another Scarab now. And with it, it doesn't do friendly fire. They just all died at the same time. But the probes try to trap it in. Dragoon on the back line. That cannon being depowered hurts so badly. Another cannon on the way. 1 Ravager remains. Boxes him into the corner. Fires a shot onto the cannon. More Zerglings on the way. A dozen probes dead. Trap still in a probe lead. Dragoon kills the Ravager. Zerglings chase it down. Zerglings fighting the cannon. Probe fighting the Zerglings. And Trap holds. But at what cost? He's building a scout. He needs something. Another Reaver is on the way. Saves the day for now. Fires off the shot. Oh no. The scout is oh my god, look at that thing. It looks way more intimidating than in my experience and my knowledge, Should be. But I believe the Scout is a bit more capable than its StarCraft 1 counterpart, where its StarCraft 1 counterpart mostly just flung mean words at things on the ground. But now, it can do even more than that. You know, you can't even fly. Why don't you come down here, young man, or old man. Actually, I'm not sure Brenda, are you talking to the Protoss again? You know we don't share a psionic connection. That's just like a lore thing they use whenever they need to make sense in like have two characters talk in the story. It's not a real thing. Susan, shut the fuck up. Brenda, we're gonna get demonetized. I know. It's past 5 minutes in. You're fine. Just everybody's chill. All right, chill. Sorry, I blacked out for a second. Spire is on the way for Dark. The attack is held. But at what cost? The Scout still finding some damage. The Queens, politely yet firmly asking it to leave. And out comes... Wait, is that a cow? They didn't tell me your mother was coming. Shuttle on its way across. Gravitic drive. Shuttle speed is done. Though he did fly right past the Zergling. The Scout was trying to cover the vision here, but doesn't quite accomplish it. The Reavers could probably just take out the base. But now the question will be, does Trap have an answer for the Mutalisks? Reavers, stutter stepping for what it's worth. He's blasting away at the Zerglings. So satisfying to watch. Just popping Zerglings. He's out of scarabs. Has to wait a little longer for them to rebuild. 9 mutas in production. Reinforcements on the way. And the Queen obliterated. Mutas. Scout comes in. But Queens and mutas will take it down. Here are the Dragoons. The anti-air is 8 Dragoons. I have no idea who wins this fight, but the Queens are going to try to tilt the scales. The Dragoons not doing as well as I think Trap would hope. But the Reavers are hunting probes. Actually, drones. They practice on the probes, but here we are. 12 drones dead. The mutas will win the fight, but Dark has not chased down the shuttle. And he's taking terrible, terrible damage. His economy being annihilated by a single Reaver. 27, 31 kills. And gets one more. The shuttle is still alive. 32 kills in the last minute from Trap. And now 39 to 23 workers. He now must hold. He has to defend against the mutas. How many on the field? 9 of them. There's Dragoons on the ground. Corsairs, though, which are better and worse than Phoenixes. I think better in large packs in a straight-up fight, but worse in that they don't outrange the mutas reliably, and they can't attack while moving. Dark gonna find some more damage here. He's just gonna run around and maybe can take out one of the Corsairs. No! Trap! Bucks the trend there and turns it around. 2-1 Trap going to match point. Holding the all-in from the vicious StarCraft 2 Zerg and turning it around. What a defense, by the way. Those Reavers doing so much. Dark leaning, trying to grab the mutas again, but it just doesn't work out. We're going back. I'm not sure how the map pool works, but I think they're playing the same map again. Ah, yes, but in different positions. And this time, Dark is the StarCraft 1 Zerg. Maybe they can choose which map they pick. As there are some maps specifically designed for the SC Evo mod. And I want to take this time, by the way, before we get into game number 4. I thought Dark would kill him. I really thought the Ravagers would just do it. And I was trying to hedge my commentary like, oh, it's going to be close, but the Ravagers are just going to break through. Let's not try to make it look too OP. Well, he certainly didn't make it look too OP. In fact, that Reaver made all the difference. But where was I? Thank you to Kiwian, by the way. the link in the description. If you want to watch all the games, yes, in Korean, which means you don't have to suffer through my commentary. But thank you to Kiwian for hosting the tournament, bringing all the players together, and sending me the games as well. Awesome initiative. Really appreciate it. And while you're there, make sure to check out the StarCraft Evo Discord. Even if all you want to do is sow Discord by complaining about balance, which in English is most of what people accomplish, but you can find it there. And if you want to find some games on, say, not Korea, which usually takes a little more effort, there's a looking for group channel and stuff like that. So make sure to check that out in the description after you like and subscribe. All right. Trap back to StarCraft 2 Protoss. Dark StarCraft 1 Zerg. He's gonna have to rely on the classic Zerg to stay in this tournament. This time around, he doesn't try for a proxy hatch. Of course, it's a 4-player map, so good luck. You're not gonna be proxy hatching in the middle of the map. What is he doing? Is he gonna Evo block? Is that a wall? He can always cancel it. I guess it's kind of like the Protoss style of having to move your unit each time. Or even worse than that. Wait. Is that a hard wall now? Is Zergling speed on the way? I feel like the probe would have tried to get in. Well, there's an adept. So we're gonna find out momentarily. It seems like Trap is confident, so well, he's not bothering to send in the adept, but... Huh. Hydra Den is on the way, or it's already completed. And also, Zergling speed is the... He sends out the shade. Well, I guess that's one way to do it. Oracle in production. As Trap working. It's about as standard as you get for Protoss versus Zerg in StarCraft 2. Meanwhile, honestly, I have no idea about StarCraft 1 when it comes to Zerg versus Protoss. Though Hydras do seem to be a staple in every matchup. Besides ZVZ, which losing your mind and playing Russian roulette are more reliable strategies than playing ZVZ. That's my understanding of Brood War ZVZ. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Zergling speed is done, though. Hydra speed's on the way. 5 Hydras about to pop out. No idea how they stack up against the Oracle, but the Oracle not willing to try to figure that one out. There's no other anti-Earths, just the Hydras. Building spore colonies is quite a... just an overall investment. So, not surprising. He's skipping that part in favor of just using the Hydras for early anti-air. And tries to chase down, but honestly, the Hydra's doing a pretty great job against the Oracles. Doesn't even end up killing one. Dark taking down his own creep colony, ready to break out. He's just gonna do a straight-up mass Hydra timing. There is no lair. 4 hatch Hydra. Breaks his way out. And if he picks off even one of the Oracles... What? Trap has 3 Adepts and a Stalker. There are 23 Hydralisks. Overlords also provide detection, even if he does go for Stasis. And also, like, Stasis doesn't kill anything. Yeah, Trap is not holding on to this 3rd base. 2 of the Adepts are on the other side here. Stasis behind the mineral wall. Or behind the regular wall, not the... Oh! Dark uses the Stasis to make sure he can't escape from his own base. Oh. It was a trap. But not for Dark. I probably should have seen that one coming, but... Adepts shade into the main. But the Zerglings are already there. Force fields will delay what seems to be almost inevitable. The Hydras are getting in. Just waiting out the force fields now. There's 3 shield batteries. Overcharge is now used. He just backs off. More Hydras on the way. 5, 6 drones dead. There's nothing in the main. The Oracle is ruining the entire mineral line. Oh no. Just on the cusp of victory. Now Trap is able to do critical economic damage. Dark now must break through with this attack. And he succeeds. So there you go. We're going to game 5. Now, wow. Okay, so the Hydras are pretty good. Though not having any anti-air is clearly not. So now the most interesting part, which is, what do they pick? They both are going to blind pick. I'm assuming just tell the admin what they're going to pick. So we could be looking at just a regular StarCraft 2 Protoss versus Zerg. Both StarCraft 1. We're gonna find out. Now, what do they think is their best opportunity for victory? And also, of course, the mind game of what your opponent is doing as well, because they're both top-tier StarCraft 2 pros. Probably Dark, the more accomplished player, at least recently, or in general, and if you ask Dark, ever. What? I really thought it would be the reverse of this. Trap spawns with the StarCraft 2 probes. He falls back to his main race from his main game. And Dark brings in the classic drones. The final boss in the final game of the tournament. Bets it all. Well, I mean, he did just win StarCraft 1 versus StarCraft 2, but it feels like one of those strategies that barely works once and is very optimistic to try twice. Oh god, the detail's so cool. 2 hatcheries at a time. And it is a 4-player map. Trap, he's scouted for the Overlord pathing. And he now knows, but he's going to scout Dark last, unfortunately. Which means he has the... well, Dark isn't doing a big cheese, but there's no opportunity to punish him now. He's just going to have to react to whatever he sees, which is going to be straight up 3 hatch into probably walling off at that creep colony. Mass hatchery. Without the queens to provide the larva inject, you rely on just having more hatcheries in order to get that larva from StarCraft 1. I'm not sure if the timing on building the larva is different. Like, if it builds quicker. I don't believe it is. It's just a little easier to get those hatches. What you would invest in queens instead goes into just more hatcheries outright. The drone's competing over who gets to wall off. Dark tests it. I like it. It's always a good habit to be in, just in case. He tries to send a drone out to see if it can escape. And now this probe is trapped, unless he decides to recall out. Which I seriously doubt. Double gas. Adept coming across. Won't be surprised to find the hatchery there. And a little lucky for Dark, his hatchery is on this side of the wall. Otherwise, his larva would be spawning on the outside. But Dark combines opportunity with luck on a regular basis. The Adept just poking. I'm not sure if it gets extra HP from being a sunken colony. But it does take a while to build. Kind of disgusting. Make Zerg disgusting again. Ugh. Hydra Den on the way. I like how the custom models even have animations like that, like getting damaged and such. Forge on the way. Twilight behind. A Warp Prism actually first. How many gates? Just 2. The Warp Prism is an interesting choice, because by the time the Warp Prism arrives, Dark is already going to have Hydras. So, now, of course, Trap doesn't know that for sure. He might be expecting a rush to Spire. The StarCraft 1 Mutas are less mobile, but they do more damage overall, and they have slightly more range. A deadly choice against a Protoss who is not going Stargate, but it's not Mutas. Instead, it's just Hydras again. And Trap gonna try to exploit it. Comes in, but Zergling speed is already done. As they start nibbling at the Adepts, he'll pick it up with the Prism. Hydra speed in production. Now, looks like he's just gonna go for the Hydra bust yet again. And I don't know if Blink Stalkers are quite the answer to it. Immortals in production. This time around, Trap will have an army on the ground. He'll have boots on the... well, boots and snow globes and whatever else, but... actually, I don't think any of the army wears boots, but that... I digress. He will have an army to directly fight against the Hydras instead of tiptoeing around the edges and trying to get something done with the Oracles. Sunken at the third. Hydra's poking at the Warp Prism. Observer spots the Hydras coming out. No Overlord in range to detect. Robo Bay is on the way. Blink +1. If Trap does finish the Blink Stalkers, if he does have enough production, those Hydras, even with their upgrades, are going to struggle against a critical mass of Stalkers. It's, again, the StarCraft 2 races just being so mobile, so efficient, compared to the just sheer strength of StarCraft 1. Especially when you can select more than 12 Zerglings at a time, am I right? Disruptor on the way. The Reaver's angrier, more volatile cousin. Doesn't require a shuttle to chauffeur it around, but also is an existential threat to even the Protoss themselves. A whole bunch of Zerglings on the way. Dark. That force field is optimistic, but Lair just now started. Dark only 42 drones. He's got a total of 5 hatcheries, though, trying to catch the army out. The Zerglings will get in! You can't let the Zerg in. They're not sending their best. He recalls the army, but he's going to lose many of his units beforehand. The barriers are triggered, and Dark is knocking down the door. The final boss is looking to bring this home with 2 Hydra busts in a row. And Trap doesn't seem to have an answer. He fires off a Ruptor shot. It's going to kill a few Hydras. But there's a lot more where that came from. Meanwhile, the Adept's at the back, but he's not focusing on it. He's distracted by the Hydra itself. Pulling back, Blink is done. +1 is done. The probes are starting to fall. But the Disruptor is popped before it comes off cooldown. And it feels like this game is over before it's even begun. And again, Dark busts through. Trap tried another tactic to shut it down, but Dark just comes barreling through like the Kool-Aid man of Zerg. He takes the Hydra risk, and it pays off. So, your champion of the very first, and hopefully not only, StarCraft 1 versus StarCraft 2, StarCraft Evolution Complete Tournament. Yes, once again, the final boss. It's Dark. Well, hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you again to Kiwian and Murlock King, I believe is the name. Make sure to check it out in the description. And otherwise, if you haven't yet, Patreon, YouTube membership, and I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. But thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.